Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 9 just came out. And this chapter was peak. And I'm just going to go straight into it. I'm not even going to say too much. The first thing I really want to say is that you guys pay attention to the number of this chapter. This chapter is chapter 9. And guess who makes a comeback in this chapter? Kurama, the 9th tailed beast. I'm not going to say that his name is Kurama exactly. I don't know 100% just yet if this is actually Kurama or not, but this is a cool Easter egg that we do end up getting. But let's start off with the cover. And this cover, to me, I don't care what you're about to tell me. You can tell me anything, but you won't change my mind that this cover is absolutely peak and the best cover that we have gotten in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex so far. This cover is absolute peak. We have Shikadai in a beautiful pose with his lovely jacket. I mess with his jacket heavy. I really like the green and the fact that the Konoha symbol is on his sleeve. That looks good. Chocho actually looks super good. I really like her fit. I really like that robe she has on. Looks amazing. The high heels also look great. I love Inogen's pose. He has that blue jacket on, matches him perfectly. Kishimoto really has good taste in clothing. I really wonder what type of drip he be walking around with. What type of drip does he go around with when he's meeting that special person? That's really what I'm wondering right now, because the drip he has on with these characters, he must have some immaculate taste, and I really need to find out what type of clothes he's wearing. But we start off the chapter right where we left off with Jura, who is talking to Team 10 and Himawari. We have Shikadai who's like, yo, why are you here? And he ends up letting Shikamaru know, probably through Ino's abilities. But we have Jura who pulls out a book and he's like, yo, okay, so you're a Shikadai. That's actually crazy. I really like the fact that they have Jura doing this. And this is quite interesting to me, not only because it just adds more depth to Jura as a character, somebody who is always trying to make sure I have the right information and the right knowledge. He has that philosopher or that smart, educated type of vibe to him where he wants to make sure that he got the facts straight. But it is quite interesting to me that he has information on Shikadai, and it seems like he has information on Konoha. He must have actually been reading all the information he could have access to about the Leaf Village and Naruto in addition, which is pretty interesting to me. I really like the fact that they added this, or this could simply be his notes that he took from all the information that he knows about it. But Jura, I really am starting to like his character and the way he is portrayed. This is very different. I can't really say that we have a villain in Naruto that really resembles Jura. He's a very unique villain, and I like the path that Kishimoto is taking. Jura ends up confirming that yes, he is indeed responding to the QB chakra that he is sensing. And everybody's like, yo, QB chakra, what is he talking about? And he says that he was thinking that it was coming from Naruto because Naruto is supposed to be the one with QB powers. But no, it isn't Naruto, as he finds himself at Himawari's footsteps, which is quite perplexing for him too. Shikadai and everybody don't understand, and he's like, yo, I really don't want to fight, but I just need Himawari, and that's the plain truth. And we have a very good panel right here. This chapter is peak. I'm sorry, I'm taking a deep breath because you will probably hear me scream. I'm trying my best to calm it down, but this panel is amazing to me. I love the shading that we have with Jura. Kishimoto really cooked with this panel right here. We have a tree that is forming around Himawari, and I really haven't seen characters use wood style in this sort of way. The way that he uses wood style to trap his opponents, it almost feels as if Himawari is becoming a tree herself. I really like the way this looks. We have Shikadai who uses his shadow paralysis on the tree, which is quite intriguing to me. Would the shadow paralysis stop the tree from growing? That's a very interesting take. I really like the fact that they included this. Team 10 goes crazy this chapter. We have to give our props to Team 10. They went absolutely crazy. I was one of those people who were like, yo, Inogen is gonna get packed up for talking smack and saying that he's going to be the one to protect Himawari. But he literally just does that. And Team 10, yeah, this is the team that Kishimoto picked out. This is the team that Kishimoto picked out. These are the guys that are going to be in the manga going crazy, and I like the inclusion. I really love it. And Himawari is whipped out of the tree and put into Chocho's hands by Inogen, who keeps up his promise, using a gecko and freeing Himawari. Clearly, Jura and Hidari are not trying at all, and they're even saying, yo, your coordination without even speaking is remarkable. I really like that. Jura's actually giving them compliments, but we can tell that really he is not trying. just like with Kawaki, he really is not trying, as he literally tells them that I'm really not trying to fight you guys, but if you guys do end up attacking, I might have to. And this is quite interesting to me, because with a lot of villains that are born from nature, they always tend to be very hostile, as they are acting almost as animals, as they are strictly born from nature and are strictly acting off their instincts. But due to Jura and the Shinshu developing ego, they are now able to resist their instincts to go and kill various people or to go and plant a chakra fruit, as they could have simply eaten Kawaki and they would turn into a divine tree, just like their goal is intended to. But no, they can suppress these urges due to the ego that they have now developed. Shikadai is not talking to Shikamaru, and I'll probably confuse the two names, but you guys understand what I mean. But Shikamaru is a bit let down. Shikamaru is a bit of a letdown. He is literally chilling there in his Hokage office while his son and Team 10 is fighting arguably one of the strongest villains that we have ever seen in the series, and this dude is casually chilling in his office instead of coming and providing support. I found that a little bit weird. But we go back to Kawaki, and Amado is paying attention to Kawaki. I don't know exactly what are the rings around him. I don't know exactly what is that. But I'm really curious to see what Amado's reaction to Jura would be. Is this all part of his calculations that a lot of people think it is? Or does he really not know what is going on? But this next panel is the reason why I really think that Boruto 2 Blue Vortex clears Boruto, because we finally go outside the village. Because we finally go out of the village and we go to one of Orochimaru's hideouts. For you guys, if you couldn't tell, this is one of Orochimaru's hideouts. I mean, we can clearly see the snakes around here, and we saw this in other panels if you read the Naruto manga. It is amazing that we're finally moving away from Konoha. I was getting tired of us being in the backyard of Konoha in the forest like we did in the Cold Heart, and now we're in the village with Jura. I really wanted to see the world outside of the village, and we're starting to see that. The lore building in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex is amazing. Orochimaru's hideout, which hints at Orochimaru potentially being alive and potentially even helping Boruto. But in chapter 6, we also finally got the chance to see the village elders. We're starting to see the lore that we used to get in Naruto and has been missing in the first part of Boruto. We're finally starting to see this type of lore being added in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, and I really enjoy it. You can really start to see that Kishimoto truly is the one in control of the writing right now. We continue to Kashin Koji telling Boruto to go back to Konoha because they have made their way into the village, and we see a toad who is around there, which means that Boruto is probably going to pop up in the location where the people had died, and he literally uses his flying Raijin to do just that. We literally see Boruto use his flying Raijin to appear there. Next, we finally move back to the fraud. We finally go to Kawaki, who is just waking up from the nap that he was forced to take by Jura. And what is quite interesting is that Boruto is right next to him. And I really like this panel. If you guys read it horizontally, which I think is the best way of reading the manga, you would really see this interesting dynamic between Boruto and Kawaki in the paneling. We have Boruto, who is standing on the roof with his coat flying away in the wind, and we have Kawaki, who also does the same in a later panel. That's what I really like. Boruto is having a conversation with Shikamaru and learns about Hima being targeted by the Shinshu, and he is also surprised at the fact that they mention Shu-B chakra. And this is very interesting. Boruto himself doesn't know. The one who usually knows a lot of the information, he is unaware of that, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly what he does when he ends up meeting Himawari. Is he also going to be able to sense that chakra or not? This is going to be interesting. But just as I've said, we see that resemblance panel from Boruto and Kawaki. Kawaki looks good. The one thing I can't say about Kawaki, I don't care what you have to say about Kawaki, but Kawaki got that drip on. Kawaki looks to perfection, and I'm not going to lie, Ikimoto has been cooking. The background looks, we need to give Ikimoto his props. This looks amazing. But we have Kawaki, who ends up confronting Boruto, even telling Boruto that, yo, are these monsters your friend? It's almost like Kawaki forgot that Boruto is actually a good person. And this makes a lot of sense. It's very important for his characterization that Kawaki feels this way, especially after everything that went on with Boruto in that Code arc. This was very traumatic for Kawaki. Kawaki was on the verge of seeing Naruto die, but now he can't help but see Momoshiki whenever he sees Boruto, and it makes perfect sense. He was traumatized. They continue talking where Boruto is like, yo, we should just work together and deal with the Shinshu. But Kawaki's like, yo, you are the enemy, don't forget that. And he then proceeds to attack Boruto. While he is attacking Boruto, he uses those rods and Boruto easily dodges the rods. And we literally have an amazing panel here. Like, Kishimoto, I'm tired of you cooking, but we have a similar panel that we got back in the days with Boruto and Kawaki in the Code arc. Kawaki and Momoshiki, while controlling Boruto, we got a similar panel, but now it is Kawaki and Boruto himself. And without even using his karma, without even using the Rasengan, just with his hand, he punches Kawaki, blitzing him as they were literally approaching at the same time and hitting him in the stomach. This is where Kawaki falls back down in the ground. Chapter after chapter, Kawaki continues to take L's, and this has to be the worst one because Boruto literally says, "This is so pathetic. Haven't you trained properly during the time skip? That is crazy. Haven't you trained properly this whole time? This is crazy." And Delta's like, yo, I think you're the one who's been going too crazy. Hold on, how have you become this strong? And Delta is scared. I have to be the person to say this, but Delta's actually useless. This is the second time that Kawaki has gotten injured and has gotten into a fight with Delta not even moving. Delta didn't do anything, which is kind of funny to me. Delta is literally just decoration. She's a spectator and she's literally sweating just by being around Boruto, a Boruto who wouldn't even look her in the eyes and is focused on Kawaki. Kawaki ends up using his karma, and this is where, for the first time, we see Boruto actually get scared, and it means that the person that Boruto is truly scared of is Momoshiki. And I don't know what type of trauma Momoshiki gave Boruto. I do know, and let me take that back, Momoshiki was going crazy and could have killed a few people, but now especially if he comes out, he will be able to kill some of those people. We will see a couple deaths, and the first one to get packed up will be Inogen. I said it here first, but I'm trolling, but Boruto really is scared, and we have the Toad who is telling Boruto to leave and keep his distance as the karma is getting out of control. Just like I've been telling you guys for a while now, just like one of my recent videos on Boruto and Momoshiki, Boruto is scared of using Momoshiki's power because he can't control him, probably while using his karma. And Kawaki, like the fox he is, notices just that. And I know he is scheming something terrible. I know he is scheming another Omnipotence 2.0. And I'm here for it, man. Kawaki really brings the action. Kawaki will really get you mad and get you invested in the story, and that's what I like. But we continue on with the chapter, and we have Inogen and Himawari who are on a bird, the bird that Inogen created using his ninjutsu, and they are flying above Jura and Hidari. And the first thing that we can clearly see here, and I will have to mention it because there are gonna be people saying that, oh, how is Chocho able to do this to Jura? How is Chocho able to do that? How is Team 10 actually able to do something to Jura? Jura clearly isn't trying. Jura is not going down the hostile path. Jura is not trying to do too much, but since he is being confronted, he will use a bit of his power. And I think that Jura knows just how weak they are. And I'm not saying weak to disrespect Team 10, but he knows the power difference. And just by seeing the way he's been acting right now, I am not 100% if this Tail Beast bomb was truly anything too special from Jura. He probably has way more in the tank that he just didn't reveal due to them being so weak. Because we literally have Jura who uses a Tail Beast bomb just by using his eyes. And I really like the fact that he has his hands in his pockets, doesn't really care of whatever Shikadai is doing, and simply just uses a Tail Beast bomb. Yo, you got me controlled? Yo, you got me not moving? Fine, I'll just use a Tail Beast bomb with my eyes. Bro, Jura's really him. But he is interrupted by Chocho, who puts him to the floor. A lot of people will be like, yo, how is Chocho able to even touch Jura? Jura was literally in the shadow paralysis. I had somebody in the comments tell me that and they were mad, but Jura was literally in the shadow paralysis, so it makes sense that he wasn't able to move. But if you pay attention, Jura doesn't take any damage. Jura doesn't take any damage from Chocho touching him in any sort of way. But the Tail Beast bomb drops and we see a beautiful panel from Kishimoto. Kishimoto really is cooking. I really thought that Kishimoto couldn't really do the big explosions or just didn't want to. but we're finally starting to see some big explosions pop in here and there. This clearly wasn't Jura going all out, as he didn't have the chance to finish using his tail beast bomb and finish charging it up. But this did do heavy damage, and I really like the panel that we see right here. Kishimoto cook, and Kishimoto has been cooking all throughout this chapter. This chapter is one of the most consistent chapters that we have seen art-wise when it comes to Kishimoto all throughout this arc. And here is where we get another big reveal. As Sarada and Sumire are making their way to go and help Himawari out, we have something very interesting happen. First of all, Himawari is like, yo, you should just let me down because they're looking for me. But during the conversation, midway, somebody appears. Himawari goes to that place where there's water and all the tail beasts and Jinchurikis are able to meet, and she ends up meeting none other than Kurama. I don't know if this Kurama has the memories of the other ones, but it seems like the power that Jura was sensing was Kurama, or this new QB that is in Himawari's body. And this QB says something that is quite interesting. He's like, yo, these guys ended up sniffing me out, which means that he must have been there for a minute now. And the only person who was able to sniff him out was Jura, as him being a QB. Damien obviously noticed that intensity and power, but he didn't know that it was QB chakra or it was coming from a tail beast. But Jura was able to tell that because he is a tail beast himself. And this is very interesting, as the QB says, little girl, do you know me? QB, right? This is what Himawari says, and the chapter ends off. Himawari is super important, yeah? To Blue Vortex, I think it is Boruto and Himawari, both Uzumakis, and both of them have blue eyes, and I think it makes perfect sense. And this chapter to me is a 10 out of 10. I said it was a 9 out of 10 when I just saw the spoilers, but with the text that has come out, this is simply a 10 out of 10, and there is no way you can't convince me. So many new plot points were introduced. The plot point of Boruto being scared of using the karma, the plot point of Kawaki not training to his finest, Sarada and Sumire potentially meeting up with Hidari and Jura in the next chapter, Himawari possessing a QB inside of him. Is it going to be Kurama or is it a new QB? Because this QB is as a kid, and we know that tail beasts, they don't really die, but they come back to life. But the way Kurama ended dying was a little different. It didn't mean that he can't come back, but it is likely why he came back in this form, in this small form, as he was probably reincarnated due to him dying using Baryon mode. There are a lot of theories to discuss, a lot of explanations to be made, because you already know people are going to have a problem with the QB that we see right here looking so similar to Kurama. People are going to have problems, and we know that we're going to have to answer them. So in the future videos and the videos to come, we're going to be diving deep into Kurama, Momoshiki, and all the new information that we ended up learning from this chapter. But the one thing I do have to say is that this chapter is a 10 out of 10. And if you enjoyed this chapter, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm out, bruh.